opine on that at this point. I think that I don't want to also give false hopes to people. A Ponzi scheme has a way of destroying resources that enter the Ponzi scheme. This is essentially what has occurred here. This press conference is about the prosecution of Kathy Giesiker for her crimes. We'll continue to try and identify any resources that may remain, but I don't want to get people's hopes up over this.
In what ways are you working with federal authorities? Because I understand they have made some charges as well.
Doug, why don't you go ahead and address the federal side of it.
I'm Doug Owen, the Chief Counsel of the Consumer Protection Division. The federal authorities also have filed some charges, and Ms. Giesiker was arrested on those charges this morning. And we are continuing to work with the federal authorities, both the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office, in ensuring that Ms. Giesiker is brought to justice.
Whose court is the court of first review then? Theirs or the state's?
Well, the cases will proceed simultaneously. As to which case comes to trial first really will depend on court docket, so I'm not prepared to answer that question.
You're not deferring to them though in some form of way?
No, absolutely not. And she will be arrested on state charges, and we'll move forward. Our procedure is a little bit different. At the state level, we'll need to proceed with a preliminary hearing, whereas the federal system works through grand jury.
If I want to follow up on Kermit's question, a lot of times when local prosecutors defer to the feds, it's because the feds have stronger penalties at hand. The way this document has been charged, and Kathy Giesiker has been charged today, she's facing as many as 120 years under the state system. We certainly see that we have plenty of state power and authority to go after her, so our intent would be to move the case quickly up in Mexico.
Well, where is she? Who has jurisdiction over her?
She turned herself in St. Louis today to the federal authorities. We have a detainer on her now, and after she's done with the feds, she'll have to turn herself in to the judge in Audrain County who signed the bail warrant on her this morning.
But she gave herself up to federal authorities, and then she'll be handed over to state?
That's correct.
Okay.
You said that you couldn't speak to whether the money could be recovered, but are you seeking to recover it from some of those who got in early on this scheme?
We haven't taken those steps yet. What we're doing right now is identifying all the assets that are capable of having the state put their hands on those assets right now, and how to unravel, if at all, the Ponzi scheme is something that will be deferred for another day.
Generally, there's been some talk, coffee shop talk in Audrain County, where I'm from, about possible involvement from ADM Corporation or other corporations, grain corporations. Any evidence in your investigation that leads to that?
We haven't seen, we've heard those rumors as well. We took the rumors seriously and investigated them, but don't have any information that would lead in that direction.
Will you still be investigating that, or is that going to...
You know, an investigation never really closes. We'll keep our investigators working on all aspects that appear credible, but at this time, ADM is not a target.
Were all the victims from Audrain County, or were there any outside that particular area or other parts of Missouri?
John, you probably have the best handle on that.
Actually, the victims are scattered out through a wide geographic area, mainly concentrated in Audrain and the surrounding counties, but cross many different jurisdictional boundaries.
It is all of Missouri?
All of Missouri.
How long was this Ponzi scheme going on?
June 2007.
I mean, the scheme has been going on for some time, in the sense that she's been...
You want to come step into the picture?
The allegations and the probable cause that supported the filing of the charges today suggest that there's evidence that the scheme has been going on for quite a number of years. We've seen an acceleration of the scheme over the last two to 3 years.
Her husband, who is now deceased, did you find any evidence that he was involved in starting the scheme, or...?
You're starting to ask questions that really are difficult to answer, because you're asking me to talk about specifics of our investigation, and the rules don't really allow me to do that. I mean, we do have evidence that the scheme has gone on for some time. It appears to us it's accelerated in the last number of years, and that's the basis.
Can you put a date as to when it would start, when you think it started?
The complaints go back as far as early 2006, but again, that I think Dr. Hagler will have better information as to when it started. Our charges are based upon specific transactions with a number of the farmers. I think Dr. Hagler would have more information about some of the complaints that may go back earlier in time.
Who will preside at this hearing, and what precisely is the purpose of the hearing in Martinsburg?
The purpose of the administrative hearing is to, administrating hearing officer will preside. And the purpose of that is just to relay the assets the Department of Agriculture has, which is the bond, essentially. In this case, we have a $297,000 bond, and so it will do the distribution of that bond to the claimants. It's just one part, but it is the first part. And I know a lot of farmers have been waiting to see and have been anxious to see at least get some resolution to that, and that's just the first step that we're able to move forward on now that Attorney General Koster has been able to file these charges.
So how do you divide it up?